just me this week, as we were told last week. So welcome to my couch. I was also noted in the comments last week that it was couch conversations and we were not on a couch. So I apologize for that, and I'm making up for it today. I'm Benless. My right is vacant, as you can see. That's going to make things go a lot smoother, a lot clearer, as we all know, as today we are talking about stats. Something I thoroughly dislike and Ben loves, but you guys want the statistics of where the market is, so we're going to give it to you. A lot of the same. I'm going to go national, which I don't like to do because I think it's irrelevant to us. Peace of mind to some. And then I'm going to nail down into Metro Vancouver for you here. I'm going to put a timer on myself so we don't get too out of control here. Let's see how long this takes. We are going to have a message from Ben come in shortly. We'll discuss that when it arrives. So, here we go. National real estate numbers. Month over month, September sales, 0.9% increase. That's the first month over month sales increase since March. As you've heard us over the last few months, things have been very tight. Buyer's market constantly, seller's market, I apologize, constantly, even though the activity levels have been teetering down since March. And this is the first time since March. Nationally, sales has increased as well. Minimal, 0.9, but it's there. Now, year over year, sales are down 17.5% nationally. And there is a 1.6% national decline in new listings month over month, August to September. So, new listings coming down, again, going to tighten that inventory, nationally speaking, how relevant that is to any of you listening. But in addition to that, year over year, prices are up 13.9% nationally. There's a few points I want to make on that. First of all, there's a big talk right now with the way everything's gone, nationally speaking. Just had our elections on inflation. We've touched on it a lot. How you measure inflation is the crux of that problem, we'll say. The numbers that the media gives out, I think, points your attention in one direction, which is very fractional of the overall opinion of inflation. And I believe the overall opinion of inflation should be all of your everyday expenses. Real estate in the last year nationally coming up 13.9 in pricing is obviously massive and affecting you and is an inflationary circumstance. Again, rents, I don't have stats on rents because I don't follow it, but from the people I have spoken to with regards rents now that they can are ticking back up. And again, all of these levels are kind of, in my opinion, for what that's worth, real life inflation. These are the biggest expenses everyone's paying. Either their purchase of their real estate or their monthly rent is taking the biggest chunk of people's monthly fees or monthly income. So I think this is very telling from the perspective of its contrast from what the politicians and the media and that mainstream is telling us. That aside, I want to make the other key point, dumbing down to just our market. Don't let these numbers and the numbers I'm going to go through shortly make you buy something you shouldn't buy out of FOMO. I think that's a huge thing. People read what they read and they get bombarded by real estate information, and then they jump into the market, maybe prematurely, maybe not, but there's definitely buildings worth buying and not worth buying. And I say buildings and I don't focus on houses and that because usually a lot more first-time buyers are in condos, obviously, than houses for the price point. So just always remember picking your real estate or your real estate agent as acutely micro market reflective as possible, so they know what the hell is worth buying out there and what's not, because you're going to be fighting for it and you don't want to be wasting all this time and money on something that just isn't worth buying because you were scared the market's never going to come back down. Now, that's national done. Vancouver, total listings this month, 5,194, which is down almost 2,000 listings year over year from this month last year. So again, listing inventory down. Total sales is slightly up at just under 1,900 sales at this time as well, and that's year over year. Again, slightly up, 30 more sales than this time last year. But sales prices in Vancouver here is up year over year, 8%. Again, I disagree with that. That's Real Estate Board Operator Vancouver blended. I think it's substantially higher, but that's what I'm told. Now, we're gonna get into a little bit deeper numbers than we usually do. This is the Snap Stats report for October, Metro Vancouver. So this gives us a little bit more practical and accurate insight. Again, for someone who doesn't care too much, I mean, the numbers are very important. Specifically speaking, when we go and obviously purchase and sell, we're looking at the exact numbers of a reflection of market value. But to keep up the percentages and all this ongoing month over month isn't I'm sitting at home bored late at night and I just got to get into the numbers because I can't stand to do anything else thing. But what this is going to tell us, now remember with this, a balanced market is 12 to 20% absorption. We want to keep that balanced market, 12 to 20% absorption. Over 20% absorption is a seller's market. Obviously below 12 is buyers, but we're nowhere near that. So I just wanted to break down a little bit more. We've got details from Ben. Before we jump into this, I've got a photo. Ben working hard, as you can see. Is that clear? How hard he's working?
What is it even about? The goddamn stats!
That's our prior conversation, which is great. And now I have another video, which we will cut to right now.
Hey, Jay, I'm not going to be able to make it in today to the video. You're going to have to do this one without me. I'm feeling really sick. Hope you can do this. I wouldn't call in sick if it wasn't an emergency, but you know, unfortunately, I got to do the best to protect everyone that's around us. So good luck. I would like to say I'll be here if you need me, but I won't. All the best in the video. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have another Bahama breeze. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
And there you have it. Ben is working hard, and me and him are going to have a private conversation about that later. Back to the numbers. Now, Vancouver downtown, condos and townhomes. I felt it interesting to see, I think it's kind of obvious, but if you're not acutely watching the market, you may not know, what segments are the hottest. In downtown Vancouver, 300, 400,000, I would argue is a micro unit, or in buildings that may not be too amazing. I'll leave it there. 75% Pennsylvania, no. Absorption rate on that. Again, remember, 12 to 20 is balanced. So 75% there. As we jump up $500,000, $600,000 range, now you're getting into one bedrooms, entry level, very entry level, smaller, in buildings worth buying in, I would argue, 51% absorption. And then the next after that is 700 to 800,000, 46% absorption. So very high absorption on all of those. But as you're getting, I would argue, the 700 to 800,000, now you're looking at kind of concrete buildings, newer, 600 plus square feet, one beds, one in dens. That's kind of the most people's expectation of entry. And you're obviously fighting to get into those markets. Another fun thing here, I've got listings over 5 million. There's currently 51 in October, and 2 sold. One of those by myself, I may add. But that's a 4% absorption. So lots of inventory out there in that high end, with not a lot being eaten up. Vancouver West Side, 1.5 to 175, 100% absorption. 175 to 2 million, 160% absorption. That's an interesting one. And 2 million to 225, 100% absorption. So again, West Side, you're going to be looking at lots and very entry level, arguably tear down in that. So the entry level of that market too, at minimum 100% absorption. 7.5 million and over, just for conversation's sake, there's 144 listings on the west side. 5% were absorbed last month. 3% absorption on that. So if you're buying over 7.5 million, you have options and you have leverage. If you're trying to enter that west side market, detached for those builders or fixer-uppers for people that are just trying to scrape up, you are fighting rigorously. Vigorously? Rigorously. Vigorously? Rigorously. One of the two. Vancouver west side, condos and townhomes now. Starting again, 400, we'll argue entry level, 88% absorption, 600 to 700, 48% absorption, 800 to 900, 59% absorption. So entry level on the west side, condos and townhomes, again, as you can imagine, first time buyers, investors. We've seen a huge investor pool come in over the last year with rates as small as they have been or as low as they have been. So fighting to get in those first time buyers, you're competing with fellow first time buyers depending on your financial flexibilities, and then obviously investors and flippers the like. So that's always the busiest, but again, from 48 to 88% absorption, going back 12 to 20% is balanced. This is a huge population of the market fighting to get in. West side condos and townhomes over 5 million, there's only 5 of them and 1 sold, so 20% absorption. East Vancouver, detached, 1 million to 175. You've got between 62 and 100% absorption. So again, entry level on the east side, ticked down a little price-wise, but very popular. And again, 60 to 100% absorption. Strong, strong, strong seller's market. East side condos and townhomes, again, 500 to 700, and then 125 to 15. That's interesting, is the third highest. Again, about 80 listings in that, 58 to 78% absorption. Strong sellers, and nothing sold over that 5 million. Just for some perspective, I never talk about it, over the pond, way the hell over there, West Vancouver, listings over 5 million, there are 5, and there were 2 absorbed. So not huge numbers wise, but prospectively that's 40% absorption over 5 million over there. So still a very strong seller's market. I'm gonna leave it at that. Those are the stats. The next time you see me, Ben will be warming the corner. Again, do not buy out of FOMO. Always use a realtor who is hyper-focused on where you want to buy. Get your rates set up. Another thing, there's been a lot of talk on rates jumping recently. Again, my opinion is they will possibly start to lightly increase. I don't think the government can afford to have rates jump too quickly, too fast, and for a long period of time. Again, this is bigger picture stuff that we're not going to focus on now, but my thought is that if they do start to raise maybe 20 basis points, maybe 25 at a time, they may do that 2, possibly 3 times before things start to get a little iffy and then come back down. Just the amount of debt in the system now, I don't think we can bear too much pressure at the moment with regards to rates. So my thought is they will possibly tick up a little and tick back down. We will see. The future will only tell. Unfortunately, as you know, I do not have a crystal ball. Thank you for listening to my numbers. I hope it wasn't too boring over the last 15 minutes, and I will see you next week. Thank you.